like this really helps me. I'm behind. Steve Sexton had asked me last Sunday. I got a call. We were in Kroger after church, and he said, "Man, I love what you talked about. We talked about, remember the mighty men of David and about being a warrior." And he said, "Would you please tell me how to be a warrior?" And so I was working on that this week, and then we got to Wednesday night, and I'm not doing the whole, I don't trip people out on guilt and stuff. But Wednesday night, what we've been doing down there, and the choir did an awesome job. But we've been studying together, and that's been growing. We've been talking about prayer, and one of the people in there had said something the other week that just kind of took our breath away. And so we've been exploring this question that this person wanted to know. And so after this Wednesday night, it was just amazing. I don't know how to tell you, but so I went home with all of that. I'm trying to be a warrior and to pray, and so all that to say, we're going to put a comma on Daniel, and I want to chase something here. Okay, so Daniel, the next thing was Daniel the lion's den. Obviously, that's not that. So if you will turn to John chapter 21, the Gospel of John in the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the fourth book of the New Testament, John chapter 21. And so this is, I'm kind of picking up on the prayer thing for the Wednesday night group, but you got to hear this too. It's just so good. John chapter 21. Okay, Jesus had died on the cross, was taken down, buried, was raised from the dead on the third day, and then after his resurrection, he started making a few appearances to those who were around him, who loved him. And this is one of those appearances to people he loved. This was to his disciples. So in John 21, starting in verse 1, afterward, Jesus appeared again to his disciples by the Sea of Tiberias. I don't understand this. This is kind of like Old Hickory Boulevard in Nashville. There's one here, there's one there, there's one. The Sea of Tiberias had three different names. It was the Sea of Galilee, the Sea of Tiberias, and the Lake Gennesaret. So this lake was critical. It was crucial, especially to the disciples, because a lot of what they were involved in happened on the Sea of Galilee, or the Sea of Tiberias. This is where many of them were called by Jesus to come follow him. They were fishing in this sea when he showed up and said, "Come follow me." It was here where Jesus and the disciples fed the 5,000. You remember that story. It was right here. It was right here where Jesus, the guys were out in their boat, and they saw Jesus walking on the water. And then remember, Peter got out of the boat and he started walking, and that whole story. So this place was really important, okay? It happened this way. Simon Peter, Thomas called Didymus, Nathanael from Cana in Galilee, the two sons of Zebedee, which their names are James and John, and two other disciples were together. So let's talk about who those were, okay? Simon Peter. Simon Peter's here. He had just, remember that whole story about, remember that one? Peter was arrogant and cocky. He was over the top. There's somebody in this room I can't look at that reminds me of Simon Peter. It's just impulsive. He's on this side, but I'm laughing right now. He was impulsive. And so remember, he goes, "I'm going to love you to the end. And I don't know, everybody else may, but not me. I'm going to love you." And Jesus goes, before the cock crows 3 times, you're going to deny me. Are you kidding? I'll never deny you. I'm a man. I'm a man. Let's go. My kids are going, "Oh, God." I tease them about that stuff all the time. So anyway, sure enough, it comes down to the wire, and Jesus, the whole trial, they're taking the cross, and Peter denies him 3 times. That had just happened, and here he is. Jesus is gone, and he he's made the biggest blunder of his life and hadn't gotten to fix it. Can you imagine what it was like for him this day? He's back at this place that reminds him of all that he had, and it's all gone, and he had made a mess of things. So that's one that was there. The next one was Thomas. What's the nickname that we know him for? Doubting Thomas. I mean, here's this guy that just like a chapter before had doubted. I can't believe unless I get to touch that, unless I see, well, we've all had those doubts. And he's here. So I mean, those two, the denier and the doubter, and then Nathaniel, and then the two sons of Zebedee. Their names were James and John. Their mother was the one in Matthew chapter 20. 20, I think it's 20. I'll walk away from my notes. I'll look it up, Tara, make sure I'm right. Matthew chapter 20. So this mom has her two boys, and this sounds like a mom at the Little Dribblers down at KSES. With this mom going, pick my two boys. Man, these are the best players you can have on your team. You pick my two boys. Matthew 20? It is Matthew 20. Don't ever let somebody just spout something out without you looking at it, okay? Terry cross-checked me there. It is Matthew 20. So she shows up. She shows up with her two boys, James and John, and the three of them, she's probably holding her hands and they're grown men. Jesus, I have a favor to ask, okay? Would you let James sit on your left side and John sit on your right side when you come into the kingdom? Can you imagine what moms do? Okay, so these are James and John, the sons of Zebedee. At another place in the Bible, they are called the sons of thunder. Now, if the daddy's name was Zebedee, who's thunder? Oh, I'm just saying. All right. Okay, ladies. All right, and then there were two others. So these are the guys that show up right here, okay? But it was the worst of all for Peter. It's like you could almost hear him asking himself, who am I now? What? I'm either a disciple or I'm a discarded traitor. I don't even know who I am. And so in verse 3 he says, I'm going out to fish. I don't know about y'all, but I'm going out to fish. Here's what that implies to me. I gave everything I had, and it's over. And all that I had hoped for and believed in, this Messiah, and all that we've given our life to, and now this huge disappointment. First of all, I messed up, but secondly, it's like, I thought we were going to be on this kingdom that was going to, was going to last forever. It was going to be this huge thing. I'm going fishing. I'm giving up. He turns his back on preaching, thinking, what's the use now? I followed, I did what he asked, I prayed, I believed, I gave everything, and look now. And he goes, what's this? He goes back to his former way of life. One of the things we talked about Wednesday night is there are these times when we pray, and we don't hear the answer or see the answer or get the answer, at least we think. And so we just chunk the whole thing. I knew it didn't work, see? And we go, what's the use? I'm going to go fishing. I'm going back to, I was better off before I believed this nonsense anyway. Anybody ever been there? I have. I got to tell you. I've been there. It's like, are you kidding me? It doesn't work. I went to church. I did all the things. I did all this. Hogwash. We're going to see how hogwashish it is, okay? The problem was he didn't have the whole picture, and that's our problem. And so they went out and they got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. A long, cold night of hard, fruitless work. Even though they were experienced fishermen, they had grown up doing that. They struggled all night and caught nothing. And so it's bad enough that they showed up like they were anyway, with everything gone. They're on the sea that reminded them of this. It's like it all added up to insult to injury. What they didn't know, and what we failed to remember, was that the Lord's eyes were all night on that unsuccessful boat's crew. And his heart was with them. So verse 4, early in the morning, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples did not realize it was Jesus. And he calls out to them, friends. One translation says lads, which is another way of going, boys. It's like a term of endearment. Hey guys, I don't know how to get across. I heard Meg call Jerry one day, Holmes, what's that song we're going to sing, Holmes? I'm like, oh God. That's kind of what it is. It's like this loving thing that they knew. And so he's going, boys, lad, have you caught anything? Haven't you any fish? No, they answered. Stop right there, don't look ahead. So very lovingly, the Lord of glory addresses him. Well, lads, well, boys, any luck? Caught anything? It's almost like he asked the question in order to rivet their attention on the fact that their return to their former occupation, their return to their former ways, had been a complete failure. That's what had been a failure. And they had failed to reckon with God's plan for their lives. It was as if he were saying, you caught nothing at all, have you? See, without me, you can do nothing. That's implied there. He doesn't say it. And if this is where you are today, listen to me carefully. If this is where you are today, you're in a great place. If you came here today going, it's nonsense. I don't know why I'm here. I've tried it. I'm going back to where I was, and then you go back to that, and you think, God, it's got to be better. And then you go back to the same old stuff, and you got a mess. Life is a mess. You're in a great spot. Are you kidding me? How's this a great spot? I'll take you out back. Let's go. I've got my way. How is it? My life's a mess. I've tried that. I've tried this. And nothing works for me. I've been there too. I'm in a financial mess. I'm addicted. I've medicated myself to hide it. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, we're all a mess.